I'm Ivana Rojas, and we're here on Overtime with Kenyatta Griggs.
Yes.
Am I right? He just had we were in Ballerz World. How was that little
yeah.
interview?
That was great. Yeah, I'm glad they had me to come through. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're glad to have you on Overtime because the things you said were really interesting. You are a hip-hop motivator, an author, a movie maker.
Right.
But let's start off for you. How did you start off? Where did you grow up? Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Los Angeles. I grew up in L.A. and then I moved around a lot as a kid. So, I moved from Long Beach in California. I moved to Tennessee, North Carolina, Cleveland, Ohio. So I moved around a lot. I was always like in different areas and different, at the time I hated it, but now I understand that, that was a process for me to be able to blend in and meet people from all different walks of life, and be able to connect with them. So, I moved around and became a barber.
You became a barber?
By trade, yeah. Got my cosmetology license. Owned my own salon since I was 21 for about 18 years.
And what persuaded you to be a barber? What coming to be a barber?
I've always, in the black community, it's like haircuts is important, especially in the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm saying? You had to have your flat top on point, your shag, crispy.
What did you have?
I had flat top, curly top, you know what I'm saying? We could probably
show
some pictures of that.
Sure.
Yeah, we can pull some pictures of that. I got some pictures in my phone, you know what I'm saying? I had the curly top, the Jodeci thing was out, and actually the Jodeci thing is what really made me cut my hair off because I started burning it out with the texturizers, and I wasn't reading the directions on how to use it, and my hair was gone. So, but I just love cutting hair, and I felt like I wanted to show my work, on a large scale by doing entertainers. And so I stayed focused on doing that. I used to.
But how did the entertainers come to you? Like where was this barbershop?
Crenshaw and 43rd, Leimert Park. So that's kind of like the mecca of Black Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? It used to be Central back in the day, but now it's like 43rd and Crenshaw. Where all the barbershops are there, and it's kind of like a neutral zone for gangs. You got Bloods on one side, Crips on the other. So it's like it's a real true community, man. You know what I'm saying? People, converse with each other, and I just started fronting as if I was cutting these people. I was telling people that I was cutting certain entertainers, and I wasn't.
What?
Yeah, that's
like you just tell your friends that's cut.
The whole mode of faking it till you make it. I acted as if I was cutting entertainers. And my skills actually said I was cutting entertainers. When I cut a regular Joe from anywhere, the lines is crispy, everything's on point.
Your vibes were like...
Right, and I felt as if I deserved to be there, and that's why I started going to sets and got called out, and, I started cutting people from T.I. to,
But where was that jump from just being a regular barber to actually cutting...
Shop. In the shop is where it started because I cut a lot of producers and people that were... around a lot of these entertainers, and they would see their haircut. As soon as I found out anybody was like he was like, oh yeah, I'm a producer and I'm going to the studio, I'm working with such and such. I made sure I put extra time into that haircut.
And what were your favorite haircuts? Like, what were you known for?
The tapers, basically taper lineup. Yeah, it's like, little taper, a little lineup, all cuts really, you know what I'm saying? Like ball fades, everything I was known for.
You ended up owning this barbershop, am I right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was kind of like, it just fell into my lap actually. Like,
you were there for how many years? 18 years?
No, I owned the shop for 18, but I was there prior to owning the shop for like 3 years.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so I got the shop when I was because I started when I was 19, so like 21, 22.
You started owning it at 21, 22?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was rough in the beginning. Yeah, I had to learn how to run a business. It was kind of like nobody taught me how to run a business.
Yeah, so how did you do that? You just got handed
trial and error and just knowing what I wanted to see. You know what I'm saying? Being confident in my own approach to business, and that's really the key to any business is just really having your standard of how you want your business to run and how you want it to look. And so for some strange reason, I knew that. And so I just ran my business the same way. I had my own rules, smoking in the shop, what I'm saying? No gang banging in the shop. And, if you run the shop in the hood, I don't know or any business in the hood, you can't be no punk. You know what I'm saying? So I never came off as a tough guy, but you can't be afraid to check people or to check things as they need to be checked.
So you never got involved with anything dangerous or gang related?
Not gang related. I was shot later on, but that didn't have nothing to do with the shop.
We'll go back to that.
Yeah, but that was later on. But as far as the, problems in the shop, I never really had problems like that. I mean, you get a few people like, oh, I'm from such and such. I'll be back. And my whole thing was, okay, well, I'll be here. You know, because a lot of people say they're gonna do this and that, and they don't do it. You know, not that they wouldn't, but you know, it's just at that time I was like a wolf. You know what I'm saying? And you know, to run a business in the hood, again, you got to be a crocodile. You really can't be no
Crocodile,
lion.
like
Because a
silent.
lion, you can kind of survive. If a lion then ate, you can survive. But a crocodile it's gonna get you regardless if it ate or not.
Yeah, you're right.
Crocodile's coming to get you. You know,
That's true.
so you know you
Were
have
you
to
a
be.
you
I was a crocodile. Yeah,
still are.
if I see a problem, I'm handling it right off the bat.
And so 18 years in the shop, is that where your motivational influence it?
Yeah, that was a big influence of it because what I did was I was always been a fan of personal development, you know, and the New Thought movement. I studied metaphysics, and what I started doing was just questioning, paying more attention to the people in the shop, paying attention to a lot of different distant conversations I would hear from different people, you know, because I had a salon and a barbershop. So they were mixed together. So, you know, it'd be young ladies in there talking about different things as well as men. And I just always been a student of nature. You know, I don't cut off knowledge. You know, I pay attention to everything. I pay attention to, you know, the good and the bad of things, you know, because there's no absolute bad, there's no absolute good. Everyone holds the polarity of both. So I just always knew this. And so I just continue to just pay attention and run my own senses through my barbershop.
And so what were some of the common topics that you heard everybody talking about that made you that triggered this?
Well, one of the most common, of course, is relationship stuff. You know, a lot of people, you know, have a lot of relationships ups and downs because they don't really truly understand themselves. And I found this out later on after studying metaphysics, is that, you know, like I said, we all hold polarity, and you know, in the realm of mental gender, which is a natural law, we all hold the masculine and feminine principle. And so a lot of times with our significant other of the opposite sex, or sometimes in the same sex with some, you know, relationships nowadays, we don't understand that we have the key and the gift. Yeah, we have both sides within us, but sometimes we get caught up in our man thing when we're dealing with a young lady that needs us to be a little more gentler. And sometimes a woman gets caught up in the feminine thing where she needs her man needs a little more strength. And so what you have to do is always create a balance within yourself in order to have better relationships.
And how do you do that?
Through understanding that, first and foremost, being conscious that mental gender does exist within you. Understanding that you do hold the masculine and feminine principle. Now, someone that, you know, say for instance, that wants to be more masculine, they have the right to do that. Someone that wants to be more feminine, they have the right to do that as well. But the whole key is to be in divine balance. And once you know that, you know, everything is based on the thermometer principle, I call it. You know, it's like, you know how you see a thermometer, you have hot and cold. Hot and cold are both degrees of the same thing, just like feminine and masculine. Every man started off as a woman. Every man, you know. And so we develop into men. You see what I'm saying? See, a woman is powerful because God gave her everything.
I really feel that.
Yeah, a woman is you know, to a child is God on earth because she answers the child's prayers, and those prayers are cries. The Chinese baby can cry with a black mother, and that black mother would understand that baby. The Hispanic baby can cry with the white mother, and she will understand. You don't cry in language. That's a universal sound. Right, it's a feeling. Right.
And so you were shot 6 times on the way to cut Method Man 2.
Yeah, Method Man.
Is that a true story?
Very true story, yes.
What? How did this happen? Like, who was the shooter? How did you feel?
Yeah, all that.
Like,
yeah,
why?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I asked that question. That why question. This is a very good question. But what happened was the day it happened was it was the day after my 29th birthday. And what happened was I came up with the idea. It was the slowest day, by the way. It was the slowest day I ever had in the barbershop. Still to this day.
So you were working that day?
Yeah, I was working. It was a Friday. It was the slowest day I ever had in the barbershop ever. Still to this day. And for some reason, I had time to write. You know, being so slow, I'm like, sure. I just grabbed my notebook and I started writing. And what I did was I came up with a concept to create a project that speaks to the culture of hip hop. Okay. And so I came up with the company name first, which was hip hop, which is still Hip Hop Motivation. And I came up with the idea to write a project called Think and Ball Out because in respect to my favorite book, one of my favorite books, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And so I wrote down the breakdown and everything. I was going. I was like, man, I was sharing it with different people in the shop. You know, I have people that can vouch for this. I was sharing it like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna do this and do that. I left the salon. I got a call from Method Man. He told, you know, he wanted to get a haircut because he had something to do. He was out here filming something, and he was staying over there by Fairfax. And so at the time, I was living downtown, not too far from Staples Center, by the Medici, I think it's called. And I was like, I went and picked my children up, dropped them off, and I went to get my computer because he wanted me to hook his iPod up the last time I saw him. That's the only reason I went to the house. Before I parked, got out the car. I was on the phone, by the way, complaining about the living situation because I was living in an area, you know, it's pretty cool downtown, but they have these little areas, you know what I'm saying? It's right by Whitmer or whatever, and I was complaining about where I was living and complaining about, you know, my situation at that time, and I heard somebody say, hold up, as I'm going in the gate, and a guy put the gun in my face, and as he put the gun in my face, I ducked. Of course, phone dropped from my ear. I hit him with the gate. He stumbled.
You hit him with the gate?
Yeah, because I had
you
to.
were like aware of what was going on.
Yeah, I'm crocodile. I'm not. Yeah, I had to survive. I was like, yeah, if you gonna kill me, it's gonna take work, you know. So he just started shooting me. Bam, bam, hit me.
Where?
Hit me in my liver, my lung. You know what I'm saying? My leg. Bullet still right here in my leg, right here. You know what I'm saying?
And you didn't recognize him, right?
Nah, I'd never seen the guy. It was, you know, it just was a random act. Yeah, and then as I hit the ground, he stood over me with the gun, and click, 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 click. I just remember that. He ran off, heard the tire screeching. I'm laying on the ground, and I'm just like, I couldn't breathe. Cops came up, harassed me in that position. You know what? Yeah, you know, I mean, we all know that. That's just, you know, it's just.
You were shot 6 times, and they're trying to.
Yeah, they walked up, you know what I'm saying, and the guy asked me, you know.
And you're conscious at the moment?
Yeah, I blacked out briefly. And that was after that, though. He walked up and asked me what my name was. I couldn't breathe, so I couldn't talk. I was like, yeah, please help me. Please help me. He was like, what you do to deserve this? And I was like, nothing. Please help me. Please help me. Oh, you must have done something.
Wow.
And I'm laying here and I'm thinking, you know, I'm like in my mind, I'm like, I never even gangbang. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the 60s and I ain't from 60s, you know what I'm saying? But it was like just a situation that occurred, you know what I'm saying? And that's it, you know, and then so from there, in the hospital, I continued to write.
Did you remember like leaving your body or anything? Was there like?
Yeah, I definitely felt.
Side?
Yeah, because when I blacked out, because it was around the time right before they put me on the gurney, I remember feeling the feeling of peace. It was a feeling that I know a lot of people say they see a light. I didn't see a light, but what happened was it was almost as if I melted into the ground I was laying on, the ants that was crawling up under my face. You know, it was like there was nothing separate from me. That was the feeling I felt, you know, and when I came back to when they revived me, being in the ambulance, they were also very, you know, there was another situation. I was falling off the gurney, so I had to hold myself on the gurney as they're hitting corners.
That is crazy.
Mask coming off my face, like, please help me. I'm like, I can't breathe. And they just like, they sit up there reading, and they're like, oh, okay.
They literally don't.
So actually, that experience showed me how people die in that position and how they left to die.
100%.
Yeah, because people don't, you know, we have a lot of people out here that don't care, but we have some that do. But you know, it's just unfortunate. You know, it could have been a different situation, but that situation was actually the spark that started everything that I'm doing today. You know, I don't look at it like, oh, poor me, and it was a bad situation, but it was a situation that I felt it had to occur to bring me forward.
Yeah, so what changed for you mentally when that happened?
A lot, everything. My whole relationship with, you know, people in general changed. I actually took a step back from being that crocodile, you know, and I started being, not so much hard because I never played the Suge Knight role, but what I didn't play games when it came to my business, my family, my own movement, you know, disrespect. But what happened was I became more humble in my approach. You know, there was a time when I was arrogant with people, you know, being a barber that's cutting all these fabulous people, making this type of money.
Like an ego thing.
Right. Ego is a killer, you know, but, you know, I was arrogant and, you know, because I was ignorant, you know, and the more I became conscious, And the more anyone becomes conscious, the more and more arrogance begins to die. Also, you know, it falls away from you.
What do you start to do to become conscious?
Well, consciousness is based around research, studying. You definitely, even for a person that can't read, a child is conscious of things. A baby is conscious of things. But the whole thing is that as you begin to research and study, and you go into things, you begin to, even listening to people, you begin to make your own decisions about things. But research and studying is the key, like studying things that people that, study metaphysics, natural law.
What did you study?
I studied natural law principles. Natural law principles, there's no matter what religion you are, what you believe, you can't break natural law. Natural law a natural law, for instance, is the law of gravity that we all are playing a part in right now. The natural law of mentalism, the natural law of vibration, everything vibrates. The natural law of polarity, everything, there's nothing too thin that doesn't have two sides. You can't cut anything. Everything has two sides. Mm-hmm. Everything has a polar opposite. Yeah. Absolutely. As dark as you are, as light as you can go. As light as you are, as dark as you can go. So the law of mental gender, that's a natural law. The law of cause and effect. Every effect has its cause. Every cause has its effect. You can't change things in the effect. You can only create a new cause. Okay, so that's a natural law. So if you want something different in your life, you have to create a new cause. You can't change things once it's already going on. You have to just draw back and take a different direction or bring forth a new approach. So that's a natural law. And natural law, no matter what you believe, you can't escape it. That's the foundation of our religion that came from, out of ancient Kemet, which is Egypt, known to a lot of people by, Tahuti or Thoth, Thot, which is thought, where the word thought comes from. That's the person that laid down natural law principles for everything. Everything. That's the basis.
Right now.
Well, you can get a book called The Kabbalion. That's a great book to start.
Kabbalion?
Kabbalion, Kyblion. Yeah, you can get The Kabbalion by the Three Initiates. That's a great book to start off with, but natural law is what I study. And that's what really brought me forward to understanding, how to really move around in this life and understand things. Not to take things so serious. Understanding the law of rhythm, that's another law, and the law of polarity helps you to understand that, everything has ups and downs. That's the law of rhythm. And that, as high as you go in your ups is as low as you'll go in your downs. It's just the way you want to approach it is you want to be in balance with the highs and the lows.
Yeah, never get too high, never get too low.
Right, which is what is in Scripture. Like if you go to the Bible and it tells you that Jesus walked on water. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't believe in that, it's just that really is telling you that he was above the ebbs and flows of life. He was above the good and the bad. He looked at them as both the same thing, which they really are. And that's how you have to. But it takes practice to become a master, like anything.
It takes a lot.
Just in anything. I'm still practicing every day. There's still things I haven't mastered. But the whole approach is that every day look forward to becoming better. Like right now, my whole thing is I'm in this health thing. I want to, I'm working out more. I'm trying to do different things and just, being a better father, better.
So you have how many kids do you have?
I have 6 children.
And do they have the same mentality as you? Do you kind of
Well,
embed
you know what? Not necessarily. No, they don't have the. I wouldn't say the same
Not yet?
mentality, but because I don't force that on them, but I do tell them about it. I tell them that my famous line with my children is, "God is everything I see and everything I be." I just tell them that, and so I'm not really into praising things. I've never been into praising things outside of myself.
So you don't believe in religion? In a certain religion?
I believe in being spiritual. Religion is great because religion is a great place to start for anyone that's trying to go on the right path. But I believe that a lot of times religion is it's just in the business. A lot of religions and preachers and teachers are in the business of making new slaves. And when you become conscious of the spiritual aspect of yourself, there's no one that can control you. You don't look to outside things to make you better and happy. And if I have this car, it's gonna make me feel better. Sure, yeah, for a minute, you know what I'm saying? You'll be all right, People that's had money like that know that going to the mall, going shopping, it'll make you feel good temporarily.
This moment,
But the real aspect of yourself is to tune in and tap in into the soul of yourself, And so, I just love, metaphysics and the new thought movement. I'm just into it.
So how did your life change once you kind of triggered that?
My life
That's going on.
changed once I triggered. Once you saying once I
Yeah,
triggered?
once you triggered the balance of
Well,
soul you were talking about the
where it's
natural
changed
law.
is that I no longer began to take, things so serious. I understand that everything needs balance in order for it to work, and it has to have balance in order for it to work. Even what we're using right now with this equipment in here, everything holds the law of polarity. Everything has to have a masculine and feminine wire in order to work, and it's the same way we work. You wouldn't work, you wouldn't be walking around right now if you didn't have the masculine and feminine principle within yourself. You pop the hood of your car, the red wire is the feminine, the black wire is the male on your battery. You have to have balance in order to work. And so balance is something that, that brought me forward into a better understanding of my relationships, my friendships. Even when I'm sitting on the couch and you see me with Dame and he's saying a joke and it's like, okay, possibly, or he's saying something that may sound like, it's the knowledge of all knowledge, but all truths are but half truths. And you begin to look at that. Now you may say that from I'm saying he may say that from his approach, but that might not work for everyone else. But what I want people to know is that I'm not in the business of making followers. I want people to actually go and research things for themselves and look into things.
So what about your book, The Secret of
to Balling? The Secret to Balling Journey is an audiobook on natural law principles.
Okay, so that's what you talk about the natural law in that book.
Yeah, natural law principles in that audio book. Yeah.
And this number 2 coming out.
The Secret to Balling 2, we're working on that. We're developing the script for that.
What is that going to be about?
Yeah, that is the follow-up to the Secret to Balling movie, which is the movie starring Snoop Dogg, Chris Brown, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, Faith Evans. It's a lot of people in the movie.
And what's the plot of that movie?
The plot of that movie is just that there are different ways of approaching success. Like we have a chapter in that movie called Checking Out Research. And that's about reading, studying, researching things, taking things a lot further. We have a chapter that's connected to the research chapter, which is imagination, because once you research and you see other people doing the things you want to do, it's easier to imagine yourself doing those things. And then from imagination, then you have planning. It's easier to plan something once you see it in the mind's eye. You see what I'm saying? So that chapter is called Time for Some Thinking of a Master Plan. And so what I did, I just made titles that, were kind of true life to hip hop. Right, yeah. Thinking of a master plan. Then you have Time for Some Action after that. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a chapter called Against All Odds, which is obstacles. Of course, I got that title from Tupac. So it's a lot of different things. And then we have a chapter called God Lives Through Prayer and Meditation. One of my favorite Tribe Called Quest songs, God Lives Through. And I just said prayer and meditation. And so I asked Snoop Dogg and Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith the same question, and
what did they say?
They gave similar answers all through the movie. Just different people from different walks of life. It's really no secret to success.
Yeah. So what's the secret if there's no secret?
There's no secret. The secret is consciousness, focus, concentration,
hard work, positivity.
Right. Whatever you focus on, you
yourself.
attract. Absolutely.
Sometimes it's really hard to believe in yourself when you hear no, and you're alone and you don't have anyone motivating you.
Right.
So what can people that are in that position like that low do to get out of that head frame?
First and foremost is accept that darkness, because nothing goes into the light without first being in the dark. That's the way we've all came into this existence. On the physical level, we were in the darkness of our mother's wombs, and it's the same way it works in life. Everybody starts from ground zero, and then they go up. You don't go from light to more light. You go from darkness to the light. And that holds true in everything. Like if you're studying something, the darkness of your ignorance pushes you, or should push you, into the light of knowing.
Yeah. Or like when you're worried about something, it's because you're not focusing on
you're
how
in the
you
dark.
can make it.
Yeah,
you're not studying, or you're not prepared.
You're just not prepared. You're not studying. But that darkness, you gotta remember that the way you learn is through conflict. No one learns from just agreeing with something.
Yeah.
If you're agreeing with it, sometimes it's like, you know what I'm saying? You might need to take a look and study another book or something like that, or listen to another preacher, because a lot of times that's what happens in religion is they tell you what you already know. But you have to shake people up sometimes. You got to tell them what they need to know through giving them a little conflict. You know, like the whole approach with a lot of people, and it's strange that people are so shook up with sex. And everybody in this room right now is the product of what? Two people having sex.
It's true.
So how is sex such a bad thing, and we all got here from sex?
Well, it depends.
Whether if they was married or not, no, it don't depend. We sitting here right now because somebody had sex.
If it's done in the right manner, sometimes sex
Right. Well,
can
rape.
be
Yeah.
really
Now,
like,
rape
well,
and
not
all
like
stuff,
rape. I'm not
or
talking about
molestation,
rape.
something like that.
No.
Yeah, that's bad. But I'm saying as far as
But
because
sometimes
that's
sex
also a
is just-
violation of natural law. You know,
But you're
that's
saying that sex is a powerful thing too.
the most powerful.
Exactly, but sometimes now in our day and age, sex is like nothing to people. Like, it's
Well, whether it's nothing. Well,
like
see, the thing with sex being nothing.
the value of it. I mean,
Even you could say, like, you know, breathing is nothing, but you have to breathe. Like, you could say it's nothing, but that don't mean it's not nothing. It is something. You know, it produces life. We all came here because somebody had sex. As much as that sometimes we might not want to process that, like, damn, my mother and father, but
I don't.
it's the truth. It's the truth. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same principle with the way these machines work. The principles of the wires coming together to make things work. And so, you know, as far as violation of natural law, I also study that as well. Like any violation of natural law is called a transgression, and that means you broke the law. You know, like that's a form of theft. Taking someone's life is a transgression to natural law. I have no right to take your life. I have no right to take your body. I have no right to steal from you. I have no right to violate you on any level. You see what I'm saying? And so once we get people back into natural law principles and how to approach things and how to have
Being a
better.
good person.
Well, it's not about moralism. Moralism will get you messed up. That's religion stuff. Moralism ain't the answer. Being morally right and all this stuff and trying to be good and all that. Nah, that ain't the way it works. The way it works is you have to respect the law. I have no right to just get up and beat this dude up. I have no right to do that. Or I have the right to protect myself, but I have no right to violate his rights to be healthy in his physical temple. I have no right to do that. And see, that's the problem. We're out here just loose, and we don't have law. We don't have no standards. It's not about moralism, because you need that darkness.
So what do you feel about black leadership in the community? Do you think that they need more black leaders? I mean,
Black leadership in the community. I feel like black leadership is good, but I'm not really one for a leader. I feel that the ultimate leader is the self. You have to begin to see. The only reason people follow people is because they don't read. They don't research. They don't study. If you can read in this day and age, there's no damn reason you should be following nobody. Stop following people. And I ain't talking about Instagram. I'm talking about following people. Like, oh, I'm just following. And then when this person makes a mistake because they're human, you're crushed. You're tore up. You oh my God, my preacher, he had a baby on his wife. Yeah, that motherfucker was a man. He was real.
You get heartbroken when you realize
Why would you be? You're heartbroken because you're thinking moral. You're thinking about moralism. Moralism to get you trapped. Let's throw that away. Throw that away. That ain't gonna do nothing for you, especially for black people.
Why do you say that?
Well, the problem with moralism is that we shucking and jiving, smiling and grinning, and sometimes we don't feel like doing that, and it's with people that may treat us a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Racism is not something that black people created, first of all. That's racism. True racism has to do with economics. You see what I'm saying? In 1865, you imagine this. When you were a little kid, right? You were 5 years old. Or let's just take it higher. Let's take your teenage years. You were 15 and your mother and father come home. All right, get out my house. No, they don't give you no money. They don't give you no means of how to start a business. They don't tell you how to take care of yourself. You don't even know how to boil water. And they tell you to go on here about your business. And you let all these people out on the street. What you expect them to do? This is black people. This is something that black people have to deal with. Any black person in America, our families had to deal with that. Like 1865, oh, slavery's over. Okay, now we got to fend for ourselves, so we're going to hustle. We're going to try to get money by any means necessary. We have to eat. You got to feed your children. You got to do what you got to do. And it is so crazy that some people were so afraid to be on their own that they stayed on the plantation and continued to work.
Yeah, that's
See, black people have a different thing than any other race of people, by the way. It's just different. It's not that we're better. It's not that we're less. It's not, we're just different. Until that is really, truly faced and looked at, there will always be a problem in America.
Do you think there's a breakthrough happening right now with what's
No.
going on in
No.
general with?
No, because it hasn't been faced. The key to psychology in anybody is you have to face your demons. You see that shirt that guy has on, that Star Wars shirt? Yoda told what? Luke Skywalker, you have to go in that cave over there. I'm sure he knows this part. Yoda told him to go in the cave. And he said, go in the cave for what? What am I supposed to do in the cave? You're supposed to look at what you took in there with you. And the cave is symbolic for your own body temple. You're supposed to face your own demons, face your bullshit in order to do better. You have to face it. America's not facing what they did. You letting people, you just got, okay, go ahead, you can do it. Slavery? Just think about slavery for a minute. I ain't talking about, now the slavery we talk about today is like working a job, working at FedEx, but you getting paid, you get to go home. We talking about nobody got paid. Your woman, even if you had a woman in the plantation, she was master's woman too. She was getting raped, and your daughters, and your little kids. And some of them was homosexuals, violating you on that level. So you mean, so when you think about this, doesn't that make you say like, damn, like, black people have to be hella strong in this day and age in order for us to even exist and be in this room right now.
Definitely.
Without being out there plotting on taking out some white people who are living, people in the hills and all these different places who are benefiting off the backs of our ancestors. And there's no hate. See, I understand natural law principles. I don't break natural law. I have no right to go up and beat up no white person because they white. That's foolishness. You know what I'm saying? You have to deal with people according to character. Like, I don't deal with people, because he's white, I can't move, I don't mess with him. He's Hispanic. That's stupid. That's ignorance. The beginning of the word ignorance is what? Ignore. Because you ignore knowledge. You're ignorant. Not stupid, ignorant. That means you have a lack of knowledge. And the only way that you can really tune into the plight and different things that happen to black people is from getting more knowledge. Go read They Came Before Columbus. Go read Destruction of Black Civilization. As a Hispanic, as an Asian, as a white person, study these things. Understand who we are. And the people that came here to America, by the way, are the people that was taken really out of ancient Kemet. We were those pyramid builders. But what's happening is we're reawakening right now. There's a conscious movement that's going on that people don't know about. There's something going on, yes.
There's something going on.
There's something going on. You know why? Because
one by one, people are getting aware.
Well, it's just like it's like anything else. It's like the law of polarity, law of rhythm. Swings up, swings back. Everything comes full circle. And it's not a full circle of devastation and fighting. We can't fight the military. We have to stop thinking we just get a gun and get out here and go loot and do. Nah, you know how you beat it? Spiritually, consciously.
I agree.
Because the mind is more powerful than any gun. Because when you kill a person, you're actually releasing that person into which they came. That's a blessing. That's the good part. Mm-hmm. See, they make you think death is bad and life is good. They make you think life is good because they want to make money off you. It's all about economics, more what they can get from you and what they can do to you. But actually, that's a great thing because we all have a date. We all have a date.
That's true.
It's something you're not going to escape. Everybody's going to have a date. The same principle as everybody came from sex.
So what is your biggest mission with the project you're doing, the Vultures?
Culture Vultures. Great question. Culture Vultures, I wrote that book over a span of 10 years. So
10 years?
Yeah, it was like from Thinking Ball Out up to this point, all those videos you've seen with Dame, they're like pieces of longer videos and longer footage that we all collected, myself, Carolyn, and her sister Michelle. And what we did was we started transcribing a lot of the work. In transcribing it, I was sort of writing, like a diary of information that, what I would see, what he was doing in business while people were saying he was broke. I was actually seeing a guy living on the beach and mansions and chilling and hanging out and eating good food. And I'm like, but they saying you broke. They saying -2 million. How? And he's like, he even said, like, they said we was making 300 million, we didn't even have 5 million. So it's like, you don't listen to them. Stop listening to them, the big, all that stuff. Don't listen to them. You know what I'm saying? Because they want the people that are good to look bad and the people that are bad to look good. You know? Just think about it. Just think about that. If they want you to believe that death is so bad, how is it so bad? Why? How? See, that conflicts you. When you think about it, you have to think about it. Go into it a little deeper. Just think about it. You know, it's just like, well, here again, that movie, Star Wars. Darth Vader character is a representation of black people. It sounds like he's from Britain, but he's a representation of black people. Why? His name is Darth Vader. Darth is your melanin. That's your seed within your brain. That is your pineal gland. Darth is pineal gland. Everybody has melanin. Melanin don't have nothing to do with skin color. See, that's your soul. That's your conscious connection to the universe, to everything around you.
And so if we could leave the audience with one message that you'd give, a powerful message that you would give them, just maybe that would spark their imagination or their feelings, what would you tell them?
I would tell them embrace the darkness and come into the light of consciousness. Embrace the darkness. If you're at a low point in your life right now, embrace it and move forward. There's only one way to go but up. Everything starts off from the darkness into the light. Everything goes that way. You don't go from the light. You don't start in the light. No one starts in the light. Even a rich child. That rich child is still in the darkness of ignorance.
It's true.
So embrace the darkness and begin from there. You know, if it's something that you want to learn, if you want to learn about how to run a radio show or how to film, the darkness of your ignorance can catapult you and push you into the knowing and the consciousness of the light.
That's Kenyatta for you. Thank you so much for your
Absolutely.
words. I'm sitting here like I feel like I'm overwhelmed. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry.
I'm ready to go. Get out of this darkness.
I got on one. Got ready to go. I got out of darkness.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
I really
I appreciate you.
Check them out. What are your handles? So people can check you out?
They can check me out on Instagram at hip_hop_motivator, right? Mm-hmm. And they can go on my Facebook at Kenyatta Griggs. That's it.
Kenyatta Griggs.
Oh, also the Hip Hop Motivation YouTube page, because we put up videos all the time.
You have 60,000 subscribers already.
Yeah. We should have more than that, but we took off for we took off for like 9 months, like idiots. We messed up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the only ones
we didn't monetize in the beginning.
And now you're going to.
Oh, we're monetizing now, but when we should have monetized, we'd have been cracking like about 50,000 a month, something like that. Because we was really cracking. Because our videos was everywhere.
This video.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. And
I appreciate you.
Hopefully you come back soon.
Anytime.
So that's overtime for y'all.